Phew, this Amazonian heat is relentless.
Daniel Carter wiped sweat from his brow. He brushed away another mosquito, its buzz a constant annoyance. He'd been hacking through the jungle for weeks, following rumors, whispers of a lost city, a city shrouded in legend, Eldoria.
Whoa!
He stumbled, catching himself on a moss-covered stone. It wasn't a stone, it was the edge of a carving. A staircase, swallowed by the jungle, descended into darkness. Excitement surged through him.
This could be it. This could be Eldoria.
He took a deep breath and started down. The air grew heavy, the silence thick. He reached the bottom of the stairs and found himself in a vast chamber. The air was cool, a relief from the oppressive heat. Torches flickered, casting dancing shadows on the walls. In the center of the chamber, on a stone pedestal, lay a rolled-up parchment. Daniel approached cautiously. He could feel the age of the chamber, smell the dust of centuries.
It's so light.
He reached out and took the parchment. It was surprisingly light. As his fingers brushed the surface, he heard it. A whisper, faint yet undeniable. It seemed to emanate from the parchment itself. The whisper sent chills down his spine. It was ancient, filled with sorrow and longing. He couldn't understand the words, but he felt their weight. He unrolled the parchment slowly. It was a map, made of a material he couldn't identify. The lines seemed to shift, shimmering faintly in the torchlight.
What is this?
He traced the lines with his fingers, feeling a strange energy thrumming beneath them. The whisper grew stronger. He could almost make out words now, syllables that seemed to echo in his mind.
Eldoria, heart of eternity, danger.
He shivered, a thrill running through him. This was more than just a map. It was a message, a warning from the past. He carefully rolled it up, a sense of urgency growing within him. He needed to get this map to someone who could understand it. Someone like Professor Evelyn Monroe. Professor Evelyn Monroe was the world's foremost expert on ancient languages and lost civilizations. She had dedicated her life to uncovering the secrets of the past, traveling the globe in pursuit of knowledge. Daniel had met her once, years ago, at a conference. He remembered her sharp mind, her passion for history. She was the only one who could help him. He found her in Cairo, at the Museum of Antiquities. She was studying an ancient Egyptian scroll, her brow furrowed in concentration. He approached her cautiously, not wanting to startle her.
Professor Monroe? My name is Daniel Carter. I need your help. S2. Media group, close-up of a man's face looking concerned. Man talking to another person outdoors. Use stock, high distribute equally. Yes?
He showed her the map, explaining how he had found it. Her eyes widened as she saw it, her fingers trembling slightly as she reached out to touch it.
Where did you get this?
She whispered, her voice hoarse with awe. He told her about the hidden chamber, the whispering map. She listened intently, her eyes never leaving the parchment. When he was finished, she took a deep breath.
This map, it's real. It's the key to Eldoria.
Eldoria, the legend?
She nodded.
Eldoria was a powerful kingdom centuries ago. They possessed advanced technology, knowledge lost to time. Legend says they held the secret to eternal life.
Eternal life? That's just a myth.
Maybe, but there's something else. The legend also speaks of an artifact, the heart of eternity, a source of immense power. And this map shows the way.
She pointed to the parchment, her eyes filled with a mix of awe and determination. A sudden crash echoed through the museum.
What was that?
Daniel and Evelyn spun around, startled. A masked figure, dressed in black, stood near the entrance, a cloud of smoke billowing around him. He held a gun in one hand, a gleaming knife in the other.
Don't move, this is a robbery.
Panic erupted in the museum. People screamed and ran for the exits. The masked figure laughed, a chilling sound. He lunged towards Evelyn, his eyes fixed on the map.
Evelyn, watch out!
Daniel reacted instantly. He shoved Evelyn out of the way, knocking her to the ground. The masked figure stumbled, momentarily surprised. That was all the time Daniel needed. He grabbed a nearby statue and hurled it at the thief. The statue missed its mark, crashing into a display case. Shards of pottery flew through the air as the masked figure regained his balance. He glared at Daniel, his eyes burning with anger. Then he turned and sprinted towards the exit, disappearing into the crowded streets of Cairo.
Get him!
Evelyn shouted, scrambling to her feet. She grabbed Daniel's arm.
He can't get away with that map.
They raced out of the museum, pushing their way through the throngs of people. The thief was nowhere to be seen. Daniel spotted a motorcycle parked at the curb, its engine running. The masked figure was just swinging a leg over the seat.
There.
Daniel shouted, pointing. They ran towards the motorcycle, but it was too late. The thief gunned the engine and sped away, weaving through traffic with reckless abandon. Daniel and Evelyn gave chase, their hearts pounding, determined to catch him. They chased him through the crowded streets, dodging pedestrians and vendors, their shouts drowned out by the cacophony of the city. But the thief was too fast, too skilled at navigating the chaotic maze. He disappeared down a narrow alleyway, leaving Daniel and Evelyn in his dust. They stopped, panting, defeated. The map was gone. Daniel felt a wave of despair wash over him. He had failed. He had led the thief right to them.
It's my fault, I should have been more careful.
Evelyn placed a hand on his arm, her expression grim.
Don't blame yourself, Daniel. He was clearly a professional. He knew exactly what he was after.
But the map, it's gone.
Evelyn took a deep breath, then reached into her bag. She pulled out a crumpled piece of parchment. It was torn, but the lines on it were unmistakable. It was a piece of the map. Daniel stared at the fragment in her hand, a surge of hope rising within him. It wasn't much, but it was something. Maybe, just maybe, it was enough. S2, Media Group, ancient parchment with partial symbol, torn ancient manuscript, old torn parchment at its stock at it distribute _ equally. He didn't get it all. I tore off a piece during the struggle.
It's not much, but it shows a symbol. I've seen it before. In an ancient text about Eldoria. Narrator. Media Group, ancient manuscript with symbols, old book with ancient text, ancient scroll with writing at its stock at it distribute _ equally, he asked, his voice filled with renewed urgency. Evelyn unfolded the fragment carefully, her eyes scanning the lines. S1, Media Group, woman reading ancient manuscript, close-up of hands holding old parchment, woman examining ancient text at its stock at it distribute _ equally. What does it show? It's a marking. It's the symbol of the Guardians of Eternity, the protectors of Eldoria's secrets. S1, Media Group, ancient ruins in forest, mysterious ancient ruins, old temple ruins at its stock at it distribute _ equally. What does it mean?
Daniel felt a shiver run down his spine. Guardians of Eternity. It sounded like something out of a legend. But then, he reminded himself, so did Eldoria, and the Heart of Eternity, and the Whispering Map. He looked at Evelyn, his eyes filled with determination.
We need to find these Guardians. They're the only ones who can help us stop him.
Evelyn nodded, her expression resolute. The hunt for the Heart of Eternity was far from over. It had just begun, and Daniel and Evelyn were determined to see it through to the end, no matter the cost. S2, Media Group, determined faces of a man and woman, dramatic landscape with stormy skies. Stock, you distribute equally, agreed. The fate of the world may depend on it.